I will be the first person to admit that I am really nosy. I just love knowing about people's lives, what they're up to. I do my fair share of social media stalking. So if you're anything like me, then I thought I would just make it a little bit easier for you to, I don't know, just like know about my life in case you were wondering. I also just really like doing videos like this because I feel like it helps keep my content feel more real, and I'm not just like this Carrie Walker journaling person. I like having more depth to my channel, if that makes sense. Anyway, so I asked you guys on Instagram different questions and stuff. Make sure to go follow me there if you aren't already. There was definitely some themes. Obviously, I got a lot of journaling questions. A lot of you were interested in my dating life because you guys all want to know the tea. This tea is like the perfect temperature right now. There's a lot of college questions in there. You guys wanted to know about my dogs, just like lifestyle stuff in general, my business / like YouTube stuff, and just a bunch of miscellaneous questions as well. So I'm just gonna kind of go in like order and chunk them together to try to answer like the categories all at once. We'll start off with my dogs. A couple of you guys had asked about them, and yes, dogs plural, because my family just recently got a new puppy. So we have Jake, who is 12 years old, and then now we have little baby Winston, and he is about to be 3 months, I believe. They're both golden retrievers and they're little besties. They're both so cute and so adorable, and I love them so much and I miss them. The vet says that Jake is a happy old man and Winston is just a very playful puppy. I did actually film a video when we got Winston. I never edited it or like uploaded it or anything. Maybe I will at some point if you guys want to see that, just because it's a really cute video and he was a little puppy and we got to see a couple of his other golden retriever siblings. They were so small and cute. Next, we will talk about college. So someone asked, what is college like? Pros and cons. College is amazing in my opinion. I love being in college. In my opinion, it is so much better than high school. I was not a fan of high school, let me tell ya. But college, I really like college. I'm graduating a year late and I am not very mad about it. I would say the biggest pro of college for me is just the amount of independence that you get. I love being in control of like my schedule, what I do, and when I do it. Now that I'm not on a meal plan, I like making my own meals and stuff and going grocery shopping. I just really like being independent. I love me some tea. I've been on a tea kick recently. I would say one of the biggest cons is just like the general requirements that you have to take. I don't know. Now that I'm in nursing, all of my classes have to do with nursing, but I really hated taking like the general requirement classes that were just like completely pointless. Some of them I was just like, why do we even have to take these? I just didn't enjoy a lot of them. Why did you choose medicine / nursing? When did you decide to go into the medical field and why? I've always been interested in the human body, specifically women's health. I am fascinated by that. But just in general, like medical things have always been my passion. I used to be on a pre-med track and then I recently switched my major to nursing, which is why I'm now in the School of Nursing, and I'll be graduating a year late because of that. But there were two reasons I decided to make that switch from medical school to nursing. The main one is just kind of that nurses give a kind of care that just feels more me. One of my professors once said that doctors will fix your problem, whereas nurses will make you feel better. And I just really love that. I also think that nurses are just so respectable and professional, and I just feel like that would be such an honorable position to be in, to be able to be somebody's first and last line of defense regarding their health. And then the second reason I decided to transition to nursing is just because it feels like with the trajectory that I see my life going, nursing has a lot more flexibility with like a future family life that I want to have, or maintaining my business depending on where that goes. Just with like the kinds of nursing I can be and like the hours and stuff. Nursing just overall felt like it made a lot more sense for my life. What are your plans after graduating college? I have no idea. My plan for now is to just follow wherever work takes me. I don't have like a set location that I really want to go. I'm honestly not really sure. How are your classes going? Is it hard, easy, etc.? My classes are definitely challenging. You definitely have to put the work in, but at least in the School of Nursing, the professors really want to support you. So it's like easy in the sense that they give you all of the resources that you need to succeed. Whereas when I was in the College of Arts and Sciences, I feel like no matter how much work I put into a class, I would still be getting like not the grades that I was working for. So the classes themselves are definitely not easy, but they're like manageable. It also really helps that I enjoy the classes, so they feel a lot less taxing, I guess. Favorite college class you've ever taken? As much as I love nursing, my favorite class that I've taken is not a nursing class. It was actually like a general requirement class, funny enough, but it was just hands down the best class I've ever taken. It was called Why We Hold Hands, which sounds so silly, but it was kind of like a biology, psychology, sociology class all in one, but it was a really creative creative take on it, and it basically explored like the act of holding hands, why we do that, what it represents, and like the literal biology and stuff that is affected from simply holding somebody's hand. I feel like you might be like, how the heck is there an entire class over that? But like, trust me when I say it was like one of the most transformative classes I've ever taken. It was just so amazing, and the professor was amazing and so knowledgeable. Oh my gosh, I wish I could take that class again. And if you ever go to UVA, try your hardest to take that class, because everyone that I know that's taken it is like, it is an amazing class. All right, let's move on to the journaling questions. I know a lot of you guys are interested in journaling, obviously. Can you make a how to add color to your journal entries YouTube video soon? Yes, I can. I don't know when I'm gonna do it, but at some point I would love to do like a month of color or something, where I basically do a challenge where I add color to my journal entries every single day for a whole month, and just kind of like show you guys the process of that, I guess. Or maybe I'll make like a how-to video at some point. I don't know. I need to look into that, but I definitely do want to make a video about that. How often do you use color in your journal? Kind of depends. I go through phases where I use it like all the time, and then sometimes not at all for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or however long. I'm trying to be better about it. It's one of my New Year's resolutions. I try to do it at least every few days, if not like every other day or every day. I don't know. I don't really have a rule. I just like doing it. Since you enjoy writing, did you ever think about becoming a journalist? Honestly, no. I've never thought about having like a career where I write, but I have thought about writing a book. I would love to write a book one day. I just have no idea if/when I will get to that. Have you ever written a fictional story in your journals? Yes and no. So I may or may not have written fan fiction in my middle school diary. I don't know if that counts as a fictional story, but yeah. I also don't know if those will ever see the light of day again, if I will ever share that on the internet, because they are very embarrassing. Some of them will never be put on the internet. They are just really embarrassing. I don't know. We'll see. Has journaling gotten any tougher recently while juggling everything? I would say the busier I get, the harder it is to just kind of like sit down and find time to like have a nice solid journal entry. But at the same time, like, I feel like being busy gives me more to like write about, and it makes me value and cherish journaling more, because I can use it as a way to kind of like recenter myself and de-stress. In some ways it's easier, some ways it's harder. Gonna move on to the lifestyle questions. Someone asked, how are you really? I really appreciate getting questions like these, because I think it's so important to check in on people. Just because they seem like they're doing okay does not mean they necessarily are, and I just think it's nice to ask people, even if they are doing okay. It's nice to just ask someone, how are you doing? As for me, I am doing good. Thank you for asking. I've mentioned that the new year was like probably the worst New Year's of my life. It was incredibly not relaxing. So many things happened. I have had so much going on in the past like month or two that just everything was blowing up. And I don't really want to get into it just because a lot of it is really personal, but there was literally like 17 different things happening at once, and it was just very overwhelming. But I'm doing a lot better now. I love my life. I love what I have created for myself. I love where I'm at. I'm excited for what's to come. And I feel like I have done a really good job at maintaining positivity despite all of the craziness. Also, the vent outside my room just like turned on, so I don't know if you can hear that. Sorry if you can, but I'm gonna keep filming anyway. What keeps you productive? I'm a workaholic and I love what I do, so that's a big part of it. I feel like also a lot of it is just having discipline. And also another thing I'll say is when I stopped always forcing it, it actually helped my productivity in the long run. If I wake up in the morning and I really am just like, I am having an off day, I'm tired, or even in the middle of the day if I'm feeling really tired, instead of trying to like power through it, I'll just give myself time to chill out, and then I'll push myself to get back into it once I have given myself that adequate like rest time. I feel like feeling those down times really helps me flourish in the up times. How often do you practice self-care? Every day. All the time. I love me some self-care. Journaling is my biggest self-care thing that I do, but I feel like anything really can be self-care if you like make it into self-care. Doing my skincare feels like self-care, or doing my makeup too. I've been trying to read more, if you can see my little books right there. I also love a good hangout with friends. To me, those are all things to practice caring for myself, and I think it's so important to incorporate all that stuff into your daily life. What does your self-care routine look like? I don't really have a routine. I just just do whatever feels right in the moment. Do you keep consistent morning and evening routines? What do they look like? Not consistent, like they're not always the same. They kind of follow the same general structure. Like I make my bed in the morning, or I try to. I don't always. Or I'll do my skincare. Again, don't always, but I try to. Sometimes I journal in the morning, sometimes I journal at night. It's always different, I feel like. But if you want to see an example of like kind of what it usually looks like, you can check out my most recent video where I literally show you guys a day in my life. We need a skincare video. Maybe in my next like day in my life that I do, I will do a more in-depth skincare routine. I've been trying to get better at skincare, you guys. I'm really doing my best. And then someone asked about my gym routine. See, the fact that I didn't even think of the gym when I was asked about self-care just goes to show that it has been way too long since I've been in the gym. As of right now, I don't have a routine. I have made a schedule for myself and I am gonna be sticking to it. I have been getting in movement and exercise, just not at the gym, and I need to get back into the gym. But yeah, as of right now, there's not much of a routine. Now we're gonna talk about like business, YouTube stuff. How did you grow your Instagram account? To me, I feel like it's really not grown all that much. I forget how many followers I have, but I feel like it's definitely smaller in comparison to the rest of my platforms, like my YouTube and my TikTok. So I don't really think that I've grown it all that much, but it has been growing a little bit more recently now that I've been posting more, so that definitely helps. Are you going to be posting on Sundays and Wednesdays still? So I typically upload on YouTube on Sundays and Wednesdays. During the school year though, I only do on Sundays, and I am going to be doing that. That's why I have now moved to just one video a week. Over the summer though, I'll probably pick it back up to 2 videos. Will you be vlogging your 21st birthday? I have vlogged my, I think, 18th, 19th, and 20th birthdays, and obviously 21 is a big one. I do plan on vlogging it. It'll be an interesting one for sure. I'm not sure how much I will show online, but I don't know. Do you guys like want to see that? I turned 21 on March 22nd. I'm so excited. 21 is gonna be such a fun birthday. Are you only going to be a journaling YouTube channel? No. As much as I love making journaling videos, I do want to just like explore more kinds of content, kind of just like the lifestyle, productivity type things. Do not get scared. The journaling content is not going anywhere, but I do want to incorporate more depth to my channel. I don't want to just be journaling because I really like doing videos like this. I feel like this is just so nice, and I think I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but I just feel like it makes me feel a lot more connected to you guys because I'm not just like Carrie Walker journaling. I'm just Carrie Walker who really likes to journal but also has a lot of really cool other things going on in her life. Alrighty, now we gotta get the tea out because everybody wants to know. Y'all are nosy, want to know about my dating life, but I don't blame you because I am also nosy. So are you currently single? Are you seeing anyone? Are you dating / talking to anyone at the moment? Have you been interested in anyone lately? I am so excited to share with you guys that I am still happily single. Yeah, I am single and ready to mingle, but like not actively searching. I feel like when the right time comes, he will arrive in my life. I definitely think I'm like a relationship girly. Oh my goodness. Bless me. Anyway, I like being in a relationship. I like sharing my energy and time with another person. But on that same note, I value my energy and time so much that I'm not just gonna give it to anybody. So as much as I would love to be in a relationship right now, I am so picky and selective. So whoever I date next, he's gotta really impress me. Someone said, I had a heartbreak and I just want to know, how did you move on? First of all, I'm so sorry because breakups are literally one of the worst things ever. They suck. They suck so much. And honestly, I feel like I'm not the best person to ask about like how to move on and stuff because it took me a hot minute. I had a really hard time letting go and just shifting my mindset from what it was to what it now is. That was really, really hard for me. I would say that as difficult and as painful as it is, separating yourself and working on that attachment you had to that other person and trying to just like heal from the heartbreak is the best thing that I did for myself to move on. Losing anybody in life is really sad. It's definitely a big adjustment, but now that you aren't with that other person, instead of like pouring your time and energy into them, pour it back into yourself. Any life / love advice, kind of on that same note, fall in love with your life. Something I was thinking about just the other day is that when you're in love with somebody, your brain is like releasing hella dopamine. And when you're in love, I'm pretty sure your brain is similar to a person on cocaine. Now, I'm not telling you to do cocaine because please don't. But love is seriously a drug because of that dopamine and all of those happy chemicals that are fired and released when you feel that way towards somebody. And so like my life/love advice is to try to find ways to feel that love in other places in your life that's not just in a romantic relationship. Try to find ways to increase that dopamine from things like journaling, working out, doing whatever makes you happy, whether it's swimming or taking really long showers or eating yummy meals or going skydiving. I don't know. So yeah, just try to fall in love with your life so that when you fall in love with another person, they're just adding to what you already have in your life and they're not like filling a void that you have. Does that make sense? Someone asked me if my necklace has any meaning. This is a little acorn necklace. I got it off of Etsy, but it actually is kind of related to this. First of all, acorns symbolize unlimited potential and growth because they can turn into a whole big oak tree. And I just think that's a really lovely meaning that I want to hold for myself. But there's also a dual meaning to it because of a story that I think I just want to keep personal and not share it online. But basically, it serves as a reminder of how I want to be treated by somebody and what I deserve in a guy. Worst date you ever had? I haven't had too many terrible dates. I don't know, there have been some weird ones, but there's one that stands out to me that was just like, by the end of the date, him and I, we just both knew we were never speaking to each other again. On paper, he seemed like a really nice guy, and I met him, you know, conversation was going great. We met up for the first date, and it was actually my first time having sushi, funny enough. He was very nice and paid for my sushi and everything like that, but then, like, it was just kind of awkward vibes, and maybe 20 minutes into the date, he mentioned to me that he was a drug dealer and was telling me about how he like has this whole setup in his basement. And I was just like, that's not exactly my thing. I was just very surprised. I would have never guessed. But I told him that I was like not interested in that kind of thing. And he was like, yeah, you seem like a straight edge. And I was like, what the heck? That is just so not nice. Sorry, I don't want to like grow shrooms in my basement. Anyway, now I'm just gonna do some little rapid fire miscellaneous questions. How old are you? I am 20, almost 21. Whoop whoop. Advice for high schoolers? It gets better. I had a bad high school experience. I mean, not bad, just looking back, I don't think I lived my life as much as I should have. I only focused on building my resume pretty much, and I never really had like a solid set friend group. So I would just advise you that high school doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Like, obviously when you're going through it, it matters a lot, and working hard and the schoolwork stuff also matters a lot. But as for the social spheres of high school, most of them you may never see again in your life. Maybe you will, depending on where you live and what you do after high school and stuff. But like, I don't keep in touch with many people from my high school, and I just look back at high school and I'm like, wow, all of those things that I literally thought were the most important things ever literally did not matter at the end of the day. So just like kind of keep that in mind if you're having a hard time in high school. Favorite coffee drink? Anything with caramel. I like sweet coffee. I'm a fiend for McDonald's caramelized coffee. I've been getting into Starbucks recently. Love me some Starbucks. I'm definitely late to the addiction, but it's way overpriced, so I'm trying to make my own at-home coffee. I don't really have a favorite though. I just like caramel coffee. Iced or hot, depends on the mood, depends on the weather. Do you live alone or do you live with your family? So when I'm at UVA at college, I live with my friend Sarah and her boyfriend. So no, I don't live alone. I do have my own room, thankfully. And then when I'm at home, I live with my family. You mentioned you were once a theater kid. Care to share more? I didn't know anybody was interested. Sure, I'm no longer into theater, but I do love me some Broadway musicals. I was in theater like all from throughout like elementary school all the way to the end of high school. Some of the shows that I've done and been in are Lion King, Grease, Pippin, Mary Poppins. We're gonna do Chicago. That was my senior show, but then that got canceled because of COVID. I took a break from theater in my sophomore year to be on the rowing team. I think my favorite play that I've been a part of was Almost Maine. If you haven't heard of it, it's a really like small little show. It basically is just like a compilation of different scenes all about love, falling in love, falling out of love, being in love, just like different stories of different different people. I played a woman named Marcy. Me and my husband were like on the brink of divorce. It was a very intense emotional scene that we performed, but it really showcased the hardship of marriage, and it was juxtaposed with another scene about like the beauty of falling in love, and it was a great show. Anyway, my high school was known for their theater department. We actually got to perform at the Kennedy Center because of like this event that we had called Cappies, which is like the Emmys or Grammys or whatever, but like for theater in high schools and stuff. Overall, I really enjoyed being a theater kid, despite the stigma that it might have. Someone DM'd me a question too and said, did you explore your faith in the recent years? I was wondering how it is if you were raised both Jewish and Christian elements of faith. Was it harder for you to know which was right? What would you consider yourself as? My mom's Jewish, my dad is not. He was raised Christian but is now agnostic. Growing up, we celebrated both Christian and Jewish holidays. I was raised Jewish and I have always considered myself to be Jewish. So if you ask me my religion, I say Jewish. But I have looked into and explored Christianity. I'm also wanting to deepen my Jewish faith. I am potentially going to be going on the birthright trip this summer, which would be really amazing if I'm able to do that. My religious journey is a whole other story that would take a million years to explain and get into, but the whole like knowing which one's right was definitely and still is something that I have struggled a lot with, just because I feel like whichever faith you turn to, the followers of that faith are gonna be like, this is 100% right. But if you're like in a middle grounds where you're not sure, it's like, how do you know who's actually right, if that makes sense? Because like this religion says they're 100% right, and this religion says they're 100% right, and that one says they're 100% right, and same with this one. So it's like, how do you know which one actually is right? I don't know. I guess that's why they say have faith, because you can't always know. In vlogs, you seem so optimistic. I know this isn't the case all the time, but do you often try to be that way? Honestly, I would consider myself a really optimistic person. I just like can't function if I'm not. I definitely have my days and have had some really rough patches in my life where I wasn't always very optimistic, but I do try my best to maintain a positive mindset because I feel like it just makes life so much more enjoyable. Just like viewing things in a positive, kind-hearted manner and having more grace with myself and others. I do my best to embody that, but obviously not every day is going to be amazing, and I just try to like accept things for what they are. And honestly, I feel like that's how I didn't crumple and like fall apart this past new year, and how I was able to like cope with everything that was happening in such a way that I didn't feel like my life was ending. Anyway, that is going to be all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and comment some stuff about you. I want to know about you guys as well. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Cheers!